All right, let's dive into something really fascinating today. Decentralized Autonomous Organizations, or DAOs. They represent this incredible dream of a new way to organize and build things together. But behind that dream, there's a really critical challenge that's starting to show itself.
I mean, this was the promise, right? This whole idea was meant to be absolutely revolutionary. The goal wasn't just to make new kinds of companies, it was to completely rewire how we think about power, to pull it out of those stuffy, closed-door boardrooms and actually give it to the community.
So let's start there, with the theory, the big, powerful vision that got so many people so excited about this tech in the first place.
Okay, so what is a DAO really? At its heart, it's an organization that's run by code and controlled by its members. So instead of a CEO making all the calls, the rules are out in the open, totally transparent. The idea is that your influence, your vote, is tied to your tokens. It's a pretty beautiful concept, designed to flip that old top-down power structure on its head.
But that's the theory. And now we have to talk about the reality. This is where things get a little tricky, where we run into what's being called a silent crisis. Because even though the door is wide open for everyone to participate, it turns out not a lot of people are actually walking through it.
So this is the million-dollar question, isn't it? If this whole new world of decentralized power hangs on people voting, how many are actually showing up? Take a guess. What percentage of people with tokens do you think are actually casting their vote on the big decisions? 1.77%. Just let that sink in for a minute. Across all the major DAOs, on average, less than 2% of the people who can vote do vote. So what does that mean? It means this huge decentralized dream is being shaped by the voices of a tiny, tiny fraction of the community. And this chart just lays it all out there. Look at that tiny little sliver of voters completely dwarfed by the silent majority. And hey, there are good reasons for this. It can be technically complicated, you've got gas fees, or maybe people just don't even know a vote is happening. So what happens when a room is 98% empty? Well, the power doesn't just disappear into thin air. Nope, it gets concentrated. And that leads us straight to the next big problem. What happens when the whales are the only ones left swimming in the ocean?
It's a really simple dynamic. When almost everybody is quiet, the voices of the few who do speak become incredibly loud. And in the DAO world, those voices often belong to whales. We're talking about individuals or big funds with just massive token holdings. Their vote carries so much weight that with turnout this low, they can pretty much steer the entire project all by themselves.
Let's look at MakerDAO. It's a perfect example. Before they made some changes, their voter turnout was a measly 4.5%. Then they introduced a system where you could delegate your vote to someone else, and participation jumped up to 10%. Now that's way better for sure, but it also shows you how fragile the system is when 90% of the voting power is still sitting on the sidelines.
But look, this isn't a story about failure, not at all. It's a story about learning and iterating. The community knows this is a problem, and the really exciting part is seeing all the creative ways different projects are trying to fix it.
We're seeing all these cool experiments pop up. You've got Gitcoin using something called quadratic voting, which basically tries to limit the power of whales. Optimism created a citizens' house to give power to people based on their contributions, not just how many tokens they have. ENS is using a delegate system, kind of like a representative democracy. And Curve is rewarding people who are in it for the long haul. Each one is a different attack on the same core problem. And the thread that connects all of these experiments is actually really simple. The code, the tokens, the blockchain, none of it really matters if people aren't engaged. The technology can build the stadium, but you need an active, passionate community to actually fill the seats and play the game. So this brings us to the big picture. Fixing this silent crisis, it isn't just about getting more votes. It's about totally rethinking how we design governance from the very beginning so we can build a future that we actually build together. So what does smarter design even look like? Well, it means making voting as easy as clicking a button. It means creating rewards for long-term vision, not just short-term gains. And maybe most importantly, it means building systems where the size of your wallet doesn't automatically mean you have the loudest voice. The goal at the end of the day has to be genuinely shared power. And I think this just cuts right to the heart of it all. The dream of a decentralized world, it's right there. It's within reach, but it's going to demand more than just brilliant code. It demands us, our participation.
The real challenge and the real opportunity is figuring out how we get everyone into the room.